Hi, everyone, and welcome to the BoilerBall pregame show as we greet you today from Mackey Arena. Purdue hosting Maryland in a Big Ten matchup that will tip off at 1:02 p.m. I'm Rob Blackman. Chris Forman joins me, as he always does, for our BoilerBall pregame show. Thank you to those watching here today, especially those joining us here on our different social media formats and outlets. We have a lot to talk about in a short amount of time, so let's jump right into it. First things first, this is the only meeting in the regular season between Purdue and Maryland. The last time these two teams played on this very court was Christmas Day of last year. I remember it well.
Yeah, really good game, 73-70 Purdue win. Turned around, played on Groundhog's Day out in Maryland, lost by 1. This has been a really, really competitive series. A lot of the games decided by close margins. Hopefully that's not the case today.
We'll talk more about Maryland in a moment, but first let's revisit the Thursday night loss at Michigan. Purdue's worst loss of the season, 82-58. Actually, Purdue's worst loss, Chris, in over a calendar year.
Yeah, since about January of 2020, lost at Illinois in a game that we don't really need to talk about too much, but during the 1920 season. But yeah, just a disappointing effort. It was a tough night all the way around on the offensive, defensive end. And to me, Rob, the guys look really tired, mentally, physically, just a little bit spent. So we've been really grinding hard the last month or so, and I think it caught up to us on Thursday night.
And normally if you're fatigued, it shows up in your perimeter shooting, and, well, it showed up in Purdue's perimeter shooting. 4 of 18 from the three-point line. I did not double-check this, so pardon if I'm catching you off guard here, Chris, but was that our worst three-point shooting performance of the year?
Yeah, I think it was. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. I know we had a couple other games where we made 5 here and there, but it was not a good performance from deep. We had open looks, we just didn't knock them down.
And to show you just how fickle the game of basketball is, yesterday, which would of course been 2 days removed from the Thursday game, Michigan, the same guy shooting, same gym, same ball, went 4 of 18 from 3 in their home gym.
Yeah, I watched that game last night, and they had open looks. Caleb Houston had about 3 wide open looks, bricked them. Hunter Dickinson didn't make one, I don't think. So just shows you how the game of basketball can change day to day.
A couple of interesting things from that game. We mentioned it was Purdue's worst loss in over a calendar year. For our fans that don't know this, Chris, I think it's important to mention from basically mid-January of last season until that loss against Michigan, Purdue had gone an entire calendar year without losing a game by double digits. Not a single game. No one else in the country could even come close to that number.
Yeah, we're the only team in the country to not lose a game by double digits. And if you look at the losses from last year and this year, they're all close. 1, 3, 5,
right.
2 of them in overtime by 9 points, the Ohio State and North Texas in the NCAA tournament. Then this year's losses, obviously, were all close losses. So just a really abnormal night, an aberration, and hopefully Purdue can bounce back today.
Also, worth noting, when Purdue got down by double digits in that game midway through the first half, that's only the 4th time all year Purdue had even trailed in a game by double figures.
Yeah, and Purdue's come back to win 2 of them, and almost came back to win a 3rd against Indiana had Rob Finney not hit that shot in the corner. So
right.
Trail by 4 times and win 2 of them. That's still pretty good comebacks.
Now, it certainly was a loss, tough one to take, but it happens. There were some individual numbers that certainly need to be talked about from that game. Sasha Stefanovic, he only made 3 points in the game. He made 1 3-pointer, but it's significant because now he has 203 career-made 3-point baskets.
Yeah, 9th on the career list. Chad Austin is next with 212. I also note, I think he's made a 3-pointer in 26 straight games, which is the 3rd longest streak in school history. That one passed Dakota Mathias and Chris Lutz, I believe.
Here's the other thing that was significant in that game. And again, didn't get talked about much because the game was so lopsided. But Travion Williams collected his 200th career assist, which puts him in elite company as far as scoring, rebounding, and assists, right?
Yeah, there's 4 players now in school history with 1,200 points, 800 rebounds, 200 assists, and it's Walter Jordan, Robbie Hummel, and Brad Miller. And those guys did it in about 1,000 more minutes than Travion has. Travion's only played about 2,100 minutes. Brad Miller's played 3,200, which is the fewest of those 3. So the guy just produces numbers that are quite insane to really think about.
They are.
If he gets to 230 rebounds this year, this is SID talk here. If he gets to 230 rebounds, He'll have 3 seasons of 230 rebounds, only done twice by Joe Barry Carroll and Walter Jordan.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty. And as you mentioned, he plays about 20 minutes a game this year. And he plays about half the game, does Travion Williams. All right, so before we talk specifically about Maryland, a couple of things to think about. For our Boilermakers, 14 games in the books in the Big Ten, so just 6 remain. Obviously, this is the first of 6. If you're looking long-term, Purdue right now 1 game out of first on the loss side because Purdue has 4 losses, Illinois has 3. Illinois today at home against Northwestern. You should be a fan of Northwestern, but don't be a fan of theirs Wednesday night because Purdue plays up there. Wisconsin losing yesterday at home to Rutgers. Rutgers coming in here next Sunday. I guess what I'm getting at is, man, with only 6 games left in the regular season, there's still a lot of different scenarios that can happen here in the Big Ten race.
Yeah, this league this year, especially last month, has just been absolutely crazy. Rutgers has losses to Lafayette, UMass this year. They've turned around to beat 3 straight ranked teams. They're now back on the NCAA tournament bubble, playing probably as good as anyone in the Big Ten. Every game, you never know what you're going to get, who's going to win. So every game is 40 minutes. You just have to bring it for that day.
True or false? The Big Ten champion or champions this year will have 5 conference losses.
That's true. No chance that's not true. I mean, you could almost go 6 if you look at the remaining schedule. I think Wisconsin may have the easiest schedule left, but they turned around and lost at home to Rutgers yesterday. So you just never know. But I think the conference champion will have 5 losses.
That would be significant if Purdue's in the mix, because if you go back to Coach Gene Keady's days of coaching here at Purdue, Coach Keady, Coach Painter, Big Ten regular season championships for Purdue, they've never had more than 4 losses in the regular season. Now, granted, it hasn't always been a 20-game regular season, but Purdue's never lost more than 4 and still won the title. 5 might be the magic number this year. We'll see. Long way to go.
And one other thing, Rob, I was looking at the schedules of all the teams last night, and Purdue probably has one of the toughest schedules remaining.
Yes.
You go to Michigan State, you have Wisconsin, Rutgers comes in, Indiana at home, and it's just going to be a grind the next 3 weeks or so.
So let's talk about tonight's grinder against Maryland. The Terrapins are 11-13. You say, well, 11 wins, not great. 6 of their 11 wins have come against Quad 1 or Quad 2 teams. So when they have won, they've done it against quality competition.
Yeah, Maryland's preseason was a top 15 team, and they just, for some reason or other, haven't clicked. Their transfers, they brought in a couple really high-profile transfers, and maybe it's affected chemistry. Don't know what the situation is, but they're an extremely talented team that has the ability to shock some people.
And Chris, they were the 2020 Big Ten champs, and they still have a number of guys from that team that are still on this team. They know how to win.
Yeah, you look at Eric Ayala, Hakeem Hart, Dante Scott, all those guys played big roles on that team. They've been a thorn in Purdue's side in the past. I know Eric Ayala last year in their win at Maryland had a huge second half. Dante Scott's played well against us, so Purdue's going to have to play really well today.
And Maryland's won 3 of the last 4 against Purdue. So they, as Chris said, they've had some success against our Boilermakers. Now, the big story, of course, for Maryland this year, they are playing with an interim coach in Danny Manning. Mark Turgeon, who had been the head coach since Maryland had entered the Big Ten. He'd been their coach. He resigned early in the season. Danny Manning takes over on an interim basis. You wonder how that affected certainly their ball club. But, again, I can't emphasize this enough. Maryland has plenty of talent. They just haven't put it all together on the same night for most nights. That's what certainly has Purdue head coach Matt Painter a little bit worried here.
Yeah, and if you look at Maryland's last game, they played Iowa. Iowa had something like 212 3-pointers, it seemed. So, yeah. They were 18 of 30 from deep. Just Jordan Bohannon, who Purdue has locked down twice this year, had 10 3-pointers against them. Maryland didn't seem to have much interest in playing the other night. We'll see how they come out today. But if Purdue can get on top early, which has been a strong point, and then let teams back in, you kind of wonder how Maryland will respond.
Quick note on 3-point shooting, and then we'll close it out. Purdue 4 of 18 from 3 Thursday at Michigan. I'd like to think that's an anomaly. Purdue is a team 40% on the year. That's 3rd best in the country. That's even after Thursday night's pitiful performance. As my broadcast partner Bobby Riddell likes to say, water does find its level. I have a gut feeling water finds its level today at Mackey Arena.
Yeah, and you look at a couple individual guys. Mason Gillis the other night, legs were dead, went 0 for 4, I think, from 3, fell below 50% for the season. Sasha Stefanovic the last 3 games has struggled a little bit from deep. They're going to find their range again soon. Hopefully it's today. And we have 8 guys shooting 40% on a minimum of 10 attempts. That's insane to hear about at this stage in the game.
That includes Travion Williams, who's 4 for 10 from the three-point line. Quick note on Mason Gillis, and Chris said it so perfectly. He had an awful night, so awful that now he's below 50% from 3. Think about that, fans. We're in mid-February, and we're worrying about a guy who slips below 50% from the three-point line. It's been that kind of year for our Boilermakers. Before we close it out, because I don't know if we'll have a chance to speak with you tomorrow. I don't know what your schedule looks like on Valentine's Day. But a happy Valentine's Day to you and yours. Chris and I will be spending ours with Matt Painter at the Coach's Radio Show at Wolfie's Grill. That's how we spend our Valentine's evening with our loved ones, Coach Painter and Coach Forman. So
it's also Jaden Ivey's birthday today.
Today's Jaden Ivey's birthday?
Today is Jaden Ivey's birthday. So hopefully, he uses that to have a big game.
Very good. Forget the Valentine's stuff. J.I.'s birthday, that's a much more important day for all of us here at Mackey Arena. Thank you to Corey Palm, who worked for us behind the scenes. For Chris, I'm Rob. We will see you today back here at Mackey. 1:02 is the official tip time on CBS, or you can listen to the game, on our Purdue Radio Network. Our pregame show begins at high noon. Have a great day, everyone, and boiler up.